Story 1. Buying a house. I just want one. I want somewhere to put all my belongings and to never have to deal with landlords and letting agents ever again. Such difficult people, all of them. Story 2. Traveling often. I seriously fail to understand how a great deal of my friends can just leave for a different country at a moment's notice. The majority of them are usually complaining about being broke, and the next day they're on a flight from Virginia to Portugal for 3 weeks. I'm living wrong, apparently. Story 3. A place of my own with no roommates. I could technically afford an apartment, but it would be literally over 3 times the rent I am paying now for a 1-bedroom. Story 4. Taking care of myself. I have a significant gap between my front teeth, but in order to actually fix that, I also need to replace 2 back teeth I had taken out. The estimate for that was a shocking $17,000. Unless I get a job that offers killer dental benefits in the future, I don't think that'll be happening. I have needed hearing aids for over a decade. In 2014, I was quoted $2,500 to start with my particular issues. I can't imagine what it would be in our post-COVID world. Instead, I avoid mirrors at all costs and ask, what? A whole lot. I'd fix both of these issues in a heartbeat. I'm in my mid-30s, and this is really no way to live. But with the current insurance I have, my current financial situation, it's the life I've got. Story 5. I desperately need dental care. My mouth is a mess, and my temporomandibular joint disorder syndrome, mouth ear pain, and sinus troubles are problems. I do not have the money, and doctors have a history of aiming unfairness, asking unkind questions, hurt labeled as help, and so on. I have never had a passport, been on a cruise, or left my country. It has been over 12 years since I, as a worker, have had the money for a proper vacation. Story 6. Eating a diet composed mainly of whole foods. I want to set a positive example for my child, but as a single father, it is challenging both financially and time-wise to afford and also find the time to cook. Story 7. Being able to afford a home in Los Angeles. My parents were middle-class folks who worked normal jobs and purchased a nice 2-story house with a pool back in the late 90s for about $300,000. A similar house like that would cost $1.5 million today. It's complete madness. Story 8. Eating healthy food can often seem challenging for me, as my budget only stretches to cover items such as inexpensive instant noodles and rice. My source of protein comes from the most affordable frozen chicken strips available. I strive to eat healthier, but the cost of real food feels prohibitive. Story 9. Rescuing more dogs. I make a decent salary, and 5 years ago, I would have had extra spending money at the end of each month, but not anymore. I have a senior rescue dog. She is 13, and over the last year, it has been one illness or condition after another. I have spent thousands of dollars just to keep her comfortable in her golden years. She's definitely not sick enough to put her to sleep, and I just want her to have a good quality of life. I wish I could have more dogs. I own my own home and live alone, so I am a perfect dog mom, and I have a soft spot for senior dogs. But I just can't afford the vet bills. Story 10. Remodeling our home. I am hoping to start a new job here in the next few weeks that will have a substantial increase in bring-home pay, and my wife and I could not be more excited. So maybe in the near future? Story 11. Glass blowing. I've tried it a few times in some paid classes I took and really enjoyed it, but I don't have the finances to keep going to other people's places and using their equipment. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment in the Bay Area, one of the most expensive places in the US to live. Story 12. Helping my friends and loved ones. Everyone I know is struggling, and it breaks my heart. I can't just send money to a friend because I'm a broke graduate student. If we have to be selfish in order to, then we should storm chase all year round, going across the globe depending on the season and storm type. Story 13. Converting the extra room into my art studio, but just ripping out the carpet and laying down even the cheapest rollout vinyl flooring alone is going to cost hundreds at a minimum. Also, I want to travel more, but in order to do that, I probably have to sacrifice in other areas of my budget, including the art studio since I'm single income. Story 14. Get a gyroplane pilot's license. I've had a flight in an open 2-seater Magni gyroplane as a passenger, and it was wonderful. In the past, I've been a passenger in small fixed-wing aircraft, and Occasionally, the turbulence has nearly made me sick. I barely felt any turbulence in the gyrocopter due to the way they fly. They don't get tossed about much in normal conditions due to their aerodynamics. Story 15. Buying my kids the things that will help them succeed. But I'm grateful we have food, water, home, health. Just don't let anyone break a bone or have a birthday, and we'll probably be okay. Story 16. Not living with my mother. Not that I am not extremely grateful for her allowing me to live here at a discounted price. But man, having some freedom would be great. Rent is so incredibly expensive where I live. Story 17. It's truly my dream to buy a little house, remodel it, and decorate it in a way that I actually want, not just in a way I can afford. That likely will never happen, though. Story 18. I just want to travel. I don't even want to stay in expensive hotels or anything like that. I'd love to stay in a hostel and meet new people, but it's still pretty expensive. Story 19. I wish I had enough money to get different mental health treatment. I want to go to residential treatment, but I can't afford to leave my job for a month or more, even if federal grants pay for my stay at a mental health facility. Story 20. Get an organ transplant, valve replacement, and pacemaker, thyroid cartilage that needs a tracheostomy. I would also like to be relaxing at a 5-star resort in Mali or Bali or one of those places for the super rich. And I would also like to be doing business like a billionaire. Story 21. A jump in artistic skating. Darn, I've been trying this for far too long. Years upon years, and still I can't achieve it. But I still try because I think that there will be a moment when it can be possible. Story 22. I want to build a big house for my husband, daughter, my grandmother, and parents-in-law to all live in. I'm the caregiver for my grandmother, and my in-laws are not too far from needing one either. So we are all moving in together in a small house. I would love to have a custom-made house for all of us with the mortgage paid off. Story 23. A house. Broke millennial. Edit. Not a big house, not a mansion, just a house to live comfortably. My husband and I live in a tiny studio apartment that wasn't made for 2 people. Story 24. Martial arts training and regular hot yoga are activities we enjoy. Travel is something we obviously like, but on a day-to-day and week-to-week basis, having disposable income for these is what my partner and I value the most. Story 25. Hire someone to secure my balcony, as I'm disabled and can't do it myself, so that I can adopt a kitten without risk. It's not much to some, but it would be a big deal for me because I live alone and it has felt very lonely lately. If anyone wants to help, but I guess we're all in the same boat in this thread. Story 26. Live debt-free. Currently working towards getting my mortgage and student loans paid off. Can't currently afford to pay them off entirely, but will eventually. Story 27. Live indoors. Sleep on a bed. Have regular access to a shower. I am currently living in a minivan I bought. I got out of jail in June after 15 months. I had absolutely nothing. Not even ID, social security card, or birth certificate, which made finding a job nearly impossible. I've now had a job landscaping for 3 weeks, and when I get my next paycheck, I should be able to rent a room from someone. I had offers from people to stay with them, but they are all people I knew from selling/using drugs, so I declined. Things have been hard, but they should get better soon. Story 28. Paying every single bill on time. Buying the groceries my family wants instead of what we can afford. Paying for my medication. Fixing my vehicle. Making necessary repairs on my house. Getting dental work done. Seeing a specialist. Taking my kids on a vacation.